people were like, okay, like let's look at SJC Edison, Quick Draw Dandelion, Rescue Cat, Machina, Gladiator Beast, Flamvel. They're like, okay, these decks are like good decks, right? And like let's try to optimize them.
Yeah.
And then people quickly realized, and I don't know why, maybe it's because the age of the internet wasn't a thing back then, or people just didn't have like Dueling Book wasn't a thing, Dueling Network wasn't even a thing yet. But with all these new resources we have, people kind of like start solving the format.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing that people realized were like Blackwings are broken. Uh, like in a format that where royal oppression is legal. Like, I
Yeah.
know that probably sounds really scary to modern players, but it's actually not that scary in Edison format because normal summoning is still really like normal summon beatdown is still kind of a strategy.
Hmm.
So basically, start with Blackwings, then one guy named Rognag realized like, wait a second, frogs are broken. Substitutes in this format and swap frogs in this format.
Yeah.
Surely there's a way to break these cards, and he started breaking and introducing the format to frogs. And people realized Vayu Turbo was a really, really good deck, even though it sounds really, really dumb. That's the deck I play, because that deck is just a pile of cards, but it uses Vayu.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to do the first of hopefully many podcast-style episodes where I have a guest on. And today, I'm excited to be sharing the screen with Mr. Eric Shen, who is a Edison format legend. Won YCS Raleigh Edison event in 2024, right? Raleigh?
Yep.
And then more recently, YCS Orlando Edison event last month, 2025. So, how you doing today, man?
Dude, I'm good. It's Saturday. Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. That's
Hell
the
yeah.
dream, man.
Yeah, so a little bit of the lore. Eric and I went to the same university, so right when I was getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, Eric was cruising and whooping my ass on the daily because I was bringing in my ice barrier deck and you were laughing at me. So I was like, man, these cards look so cool. Obviously, they're good. So
Surely.
yeah, right. So
I didn't know you started that.
huh? Yeah,
I
basically,
didn't know that's
yeah.
what you started.
I mean, I had cards as a kid, but like I didn't actually like we showed up. We used to play in like this classroom or like random classroom before we moved down to the union basement. I think so. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah,
but
grassroots, man.
yeah. So that was like 2012, 2013 or something when I was playing with you
Mhm.
back then. So when did you? Can you talk about like when you got into Yu-Gi-Oh? Or like were you already playing for a while at that time?
I mean, I my first time I held a card was when Yugi Kaiba starter deck came out.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I've been playing for a minute. I don't think I like got my first like competitive deck though wasn't until Perfect Circle format, and I was just playing like regular Monarchs. This is just like long. This is probably 2007, 2006,
Yeah, yeah.
and everyone was age of internet wasn't really a thing. Everyone was bad as hell back then.
Yeah.
Even when we play, everyone was still so bad. It wasn't until Go format became a thing that I like consider myself like decent.
Yeah. Well, when did that become a thing? Like, when did people start going back and playing old formats?
Like 2013-ish, 2014,
Ooh.
2013.
Yeah, when the game got fast and everyone's like, this is not Yu-Gi-Oh as I know it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you got into Go, didn't you?
I did.
You got a good
I'm
deck
big
for
into
sure.
GOAT. We're not currently because I don't know. There's not a lot of people big into GOAT anymore. I don't think, but I still have all my decks and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I liked GOAT a lot. I thought it was just
Yeah,
cool to be
it was
playing like, oh, I'm playing the cards that are in the anime. So I mean, and like in
exactly,
a competitive sense,
exactly.
right? So we're chilling.
Exactly. It was lit. It was lit. And then back then, I even had like when I goats. Like honestly, we got bored of goats a little fast. I'm not gonna lie. And then I got into Edison really, really quick. But goats was still really, really fun.
Yeah,
And I had an Edison deck back in college.
I
I had
know
two
that was
Edison decks back
crazy
in college.
too. Like you were, I didn't. I'm like, I don't know what Edison. Did you actually play during Edison format when it was like
Yep.
in
Yep.
Edison?
Yeah.
You know, in 2010,
Like
right?
I was a kid, but yeah, I had decks. I was playing Blackwing and Flamvel, and I thought Flamvel was the better deck, which it definitely is not back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was playing back then. Everyone was so bad.
Were you going to like regionals
Yep,
or?
I went to a few regionals as a kid. Didn't top any back then. My first regional top was until like 20. Oh no, it was only like a year after.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to regionals, going to locals, and that's why I built an Edison deck all the way back then because I was like, that's when I first started getting really into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was born. Oh God, dude, we're so old. 1993. So I was born 1993. So in
Don't talk
2010, I
about
was born into like
that.
16.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, yeah, when I'm 17, I kind of have a brain at that point.
Yeah,
So
there you
yeah,
go.
Yu-Gi-Oh was that was prime Yu-Gi-Oh for me. So I love Edison.
Right
Yeah, I can
on.
explain a little more on it. For those who don't know, Edison is March, April 2010.
Yeah.
So yes, that's how I know I'm 16, 17. And the format, like the good decks back then, or I should say now, because the Edison now is completely different from how Edison was back then. Because back then the best decks were like Jeff Jones won SJC Edison with Quick Draw Dandelion, and like Rescue Cat, Gladiator Beast decks were considered good,
Yeah.
Machina Gadgets, and now the format is Vayu Turbo, Black Wings, Hero Frog. There's a new Fishborg deck, and Konami first adapted Ultimate Time Wizard for Edison in April 2023, and they only, I think, like there's no obviously confirmation on why they started doing it, but Edison was like a grassroots community, and there were already multiple online 100 plus person events, and there's this guy named Keegan who is kind of like credited to start Edison because he has a big YouTube channel for Edison called E3 Yugioh, and he already had on or IRL at big events. So I feel like Konami kind of just like yoinked that community
Yeah.
and yoinked that community. Edit like it's crazy because I feel like I don't know if anyone watches Super Smash Bros. Melee, but like if you watch Melee from like 2010 till now, it looks like a completely different game, and Edison has kind of done the same thing. Even though it's just like the same characters, same cards or whatever, it's a completely different format.
Yeah, yeah, and that's interesting. Well, there's a few things I want to talk about in that. Like, first, I was surprised that Edison was the one that got picked up instead of Goat because I feel like Goat was bigger for like at first, but I guess
Yeah,
maybe
during
by
COVID,
2023 when they wanted to pick something up, Edison was bigger. I don't know how that was looking
I
like.
think at the time when they picked it up, they were actually kind of similar in community and like hype outreach,
Yeah,
but GOAT format unfortunately started dying out because it's pretty obvious like Chaos Turbo is just the best deck in Go format.
yeah,
Like all the other decks are still competitive, but like if you really want to if you want to have the best chance of winning a tournament, you're just gonna play Chaos Turbo.
yeah,
So format kind of became quote unquote solved, and Edison was still fresh, and Edison to this day is still not solved. There's always that meme that like Edison is solved, but like the decks keep on changing and evolving, and I think people who say that really don't know Edison very well.
yeah.
Like, because even right now we're going through a dark time in Edison right now because there's these two new combo decks that are just like terrorizing us. But
Yeah, yeah, I saw you posted a video. Oh, by the way, like I didn't mention, but you have your YouTube channel too. I'll obviously put all your stuff. But
yeah.
you pitched that one really quick because I know I saw you just put out a video on the Fishborg stuff.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Sack Phase. It's a kind of like shout out to my old YouTube channel called Team Sacky that I'm not gonna go through right now. That I don't know if you remember that. I was
Yeah.
canceled. But yeah, I just upload Edison content. And it's kind of crazy because I just started that channel after I won my first big Edison tournament. Keegan hosts like the RBETs, which stand for Really Big Edison Tournament. And I won one of those, but then
Nice.
eventually I don't know how I just keep on winning. It's like I'm the luckiest guy ever.
No, I think
So,
you
yeah,
I think you got
it's
some
a cool
skills.
story.
I mean, you've been
Cool
playing
story.
Edison since 2013 or whatever, so you're chilling.
That's
But
true. On and
since
off, but
Edison, I guess
yeah.
probably since 2010. But what was the last modern format you played? Like how long until when did you keep up with like the like live meta?
Yeah. I went on and off, but I think I tried getting back in. Okay, so there's a bunch of breaks, but basically, I think my last current format is I played all the way pretty much until 2014, 2015. Like Burning Abyss Shadal was like my last
Uh-huh.
format I really played, and then I took a huge break, played Metal Foes for a bit,
Yeah.
and then took a break because I realized I could not do pendulums. And then I tried Virtual Worlds when Virtual World came out because I was like, ooh, a deck that doesn't need links. I'm
Yeah.
a boomer. And that was it.
Nice.
So
All
Virtual
right.
World was my last deck. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably what
2019.
2019 or something? No, 20
Yeah.
something around there. I don't know.
Something around there. Yeah, it's been a minute. I like
Yeah.
still know like what the staples do and stuff just because I follow Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but I
Okay.
don't like I could not play modern at all. No, absolutely not. I've
Yeah.
still never linked summon in my whole life.
Right on, dude. Yes, I had a similar like route. So I also took a long break after university. So the last I played until the Pendulum Structure deck came out. I was playing like Plant Pendulum or something at the time. I was like chucking in plants into stuff, and then I
Mhm.
just took off for like 5 years or something, and then I came back 2020 approximately. So
Okay.
I missed all of like Zodiac format. I missed all of I don't know. Virtual
Lost
World was
format,
pretty
is that
big when I came back, so it must have
okay, yeah,
been.
yeah, I still
Oh, it was
think it was a
Orcust.
good
It
deck
was the
for a while.
Orcust and Sky Striker format, toss format. So
Yeah, yeah, I heard that format's really good. Never played it, but
yeah.
heard good
So
things about that format.
cool. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about how like Edison like changes in terms of like not being solved. You already mentioned like earlier during actual Edison, the tournament it was quick draw dandy right as one,
Yup,
and then I
yup.
I remember when I built an Edison deck for us to play in 20 whatever 14, and I was just looking through like the tournaments of that format, and I like picked something that looked cool. It was like Diva Hero something. Um,
Hmm.
but like the deck I built for that, I just copy pasted somebody that topped, and I know I've been looking at Edison decks now, and it's none of those cards are played. There's like a whole bunch of like nonsense. So like
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed that there's still like innovation going on this much longer. Like I know that there's a lot more decks compared to like GOAT format, or there's a lot bigger card pool, but like seriously for like 10 years one format and it's not solved, like what's up? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I mean, it's not really exactly 10 years because it's not like Edison was big or continuously played the whole time, right? But
Yeah.
when Edison kind of picked back up, maybe like 4 years ago, it was like when it first started. It was like I wasn't even playing during the Edison like when it first came back,
Yeah.
but people were like, okay, like let's look at SJC Edison, Quick Draw Dandelion, Rescue Cat, Machina, Gladiator Beast, Flamvel. They're like, okay, these decks are like good decks, right? And like let's try to optimize them.
Yeah.
And then people quickly realized, and I don't know why, maybe it's because the age of the internet wasn't a thing back then, or people just didn't have like Dueling Book wasn't a thing, Dueling Network wasn't even a thing yet. But with all these new resources we have, people kind of like start solving the format.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing that people realized were like Blackwings are broken, uh, like in a format that where royal oppression is legal. Like, I
Yeah.
know that probably sounds really scary to modern players, but it's actually not that scary in Edison format because normal summoning is still really like normal summon beatdown is still kind of a strategy.
Mhm.
So basically, start with Blackwings, then one guy named Rognak realized like, wait a second, frogs are broken. Substitutes in this format and swap frogs in this format.
Yeah.
Surely there's a way to break these cards, and he started breaking and introducing the format to frogs, and people realized Vayu Turbo was a really really good deck, even though it sounds really really dumb. That's the deck I play because that deck is just a pile of cards, but it uses Vayu, and it sounds really dumb because the whole like when you look at the deck, it just seems like a 2300 beatdown deck, but that deck has so many options and can play so many can attack you at so many angles. So that deck became really good. And now we realize that Fishborg, like someone else named Alasdair, broke Fishborg Frog, like introduced Fishborg Frogs.
Oh boy.
So he combined Subsitoad and Fishborg Blaster. So if you know those cards in Modern, you're probably like, wow, those cards are broken as hell. And
Yeah.
yeah, they kind of are broken as hell. I don't know why it took so long for this kind of deck to get introduced, like this specific list,
Yeah.
because he's like maxing out on all the frogs, playing like triple Reckless, triple Moray of Greed. All the while, there's still innovations done to every single deck. Like those were just I just named the big decks, but there are so many tier 1.5, tier 2 decks that if you like went back in time and put those tier 1.5 decks back into SJC Edison, they would blow out everyone in the water.
Yeah.
Like your Diva Hero deck that you probably built back then, if you said you net decked it, you're probably not even playing Dark Arm Dragon or Return from the Different Dimension. And those cards are like the two best cards in Diva Hero.
Okay. Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like why didn't people like think of this? I have no idea. It seems like a total like obvious um what's the word I'm looking for? Like just they just people just completely miss those cards for some reason. I don't know. Oh, oversight. Just the most obvious oversight in the world.
Got
I
it.
don't know why.
Yeah,
But I think
crazy.
the same thing would happen with any other like format. If you took a bunch of people and just say, okay, you're gonna play this format for like 3 years, people would like figure different things out too. I bet in like any format.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that'd be really kind of cool. And then there's like stuff I know, like I've only heard Edison stuff. People play Edison at locals. There's usually like the when I go to locals, there's like 20 people playing modern, and then there's like a table of like 8 to 12 playing Edison or something like that. So I know what people are playing. I don't know what's good or whatever, but I know there's that plant deck too. Somebody, one of the guys at locals has, like, he was talking about how he spent all
Yep.
this money on whatever it was, Amaryllis or something, and yeah,
Uh,
when that was getting
yeah.
reprinted.
And then,
So, but
oh well, there's actually two different plant. There's the Amaryllis plant deck,
yeah,
and now there's another plant deck that just got introduced. That's a combo Gigaplant supervised deck,
got it.
and people and that deck existed back then, but now it's so super optimized that it's terrorizing the meta again too. So
Jeez,
yeah, people are just innovating. It
yeah,
only takes one guy to like be wrong, or one guy can be wrong like 1,000 times, but if he's right once, it just breaks the meta.
yeah, that's crazy though. I mean, and that's kind of cool to do that. And then another benefit is you only really have to buy cards once. Like, you don't have to keep buying new cards over and over again.
Yeah,
I saw you had your maxed
exactly.
out Vayu Turbo deck, and I'm like, well, you're lucky you're never changing your deck because you're gonna be
Yeah,
cooked. But
yeah. Back then, like when Edison first started, like my deck is probably I don't know, like $200-300 at most, and now it's well over like 15K ish probably. I don't
yeah,
know.
I peeped your Ghost first Stardust Dragon. That's the last Ghost Rare in first set I need for the entire set of all Ghost Rares. I just need one Ghost Stardust. So if you
Holy
got a hookup
cow,
on
you're
one of
cooking.
those, you let me know.
You're
But
cooking.
or if you
I'll
ever try
see.
to
I
move
might
that
want to
one,
see
you
one.
hook it up.
I'm probably never gonna sell my cards. It's probably like it's yeah, I don't know. They're sentimental to me at this point.
Yeah. If someone was trying to start playing Edison, what do you recommend? Because I feel like if you're playing modern now, jump into Edison's like completely different ball game. The pace of the game is so different. The like I don't know the yeah I guess mostly the pace. Honestly, like you're used to just vomiting your whole hand right now, but in Edison you got to hold your hand. You're actually playing more than four normal summons in your deck because it's not a total brick, stuff like that. And
Yep.
luckily, I have some experience with Goat. It's similar. Like, I kind of know to hold my stuff for when it's important. But how would you recommend like someone get started with that?
Yeah, I think the best deck to get started with is Blackwing because that deck, not only is it a good deck, it's simple-ish. I think it's really hard to play at the high level, but the deck is so powerful and has so many like kind of auto win hands that you can find success early, even though if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
And I think if you like want to like start off, it's probably the best deck to start with, and then you can figure out what you like after, and you might just end up liking Blackwing. So there's that.
Yeah.
In terms of the like spitting out your hand in Go format, whatnot, yeah, Edison I feel like is just Go format. Honestly, there's
Yeah.
some more BS that you have to deal with than Go format, but you still play at a similar pace. It's not like modern at all, where you just try to like yeah,
Dump your
slap your
hand.
hand down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to dump your hand because there's too many ways for decks to just clap back, and you there's no point dumping your hand because you can't make five negates. You can't make you can make zero negates. Like you can dump your hand and have zero negates, and that's not good, bro. Like I
Yeah.
don't know why modern players think they can just do that. Like you can't spit out your hand. You have to play like chess.
Yeah. And that, I think that's really cool. And I honestly more my playstyle. Like, I tend towards control or not kind of mid-rangey decks. I don't like the full
And
combo setup 18 negates type of deck like in modern. So I tend towards like control style decks, slower pace, kind of turn it into a chess game because I feel like I can have an advantage that way instead of just like comparing
yep.
hands type of thing. But there are you kind of noted there are some hands where you can look at and it's like auto win. So what are like the blowout cards? Like for Goat is the Trinity. Like is there like an equivalent Trinity or however many cards it is for Edison?
There's no like Trinity that you can slap into every deck like in Go format. Like you can play Graceful Pod Duo in every deck in Go, but in Edison it's more like Black Wings have Black Whirlwind, which before I say what it does, people just have to realize it is so hard to get a +1 in Edison. There's no card that like mechanically gives you a +1 by itself.
Yeah.
You really have to earn your +1s through battle or by outplaying your opponent,
Uh-huh.
which is why I think Edison is so fun and skillful. But Blackwings have a card called Black Whirlwind, which is a continuous spell card. Every time you summon a Blackwing monster, you can just search another Blackwing monster with less attack.
Yeah.
And that card is kind of an auto win if you open a big enough Blackwing monster with it, because they now have to deal with Whirlwind instantly, or else you're going to plus again and plus again and plus again. Then the game just is out of control. So Whirlwind, there's like some stat, but it's like if you open Whirlwind Shura, it's like a 75-80% win rate or something if you go first.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, it's not like auto win, but it's just such an advantage that you're probably going to win the game. Future Fusion's in this format, and it's pre-errata Future Fusion. So if you're playing a dragon deck
Yeah.
and reveal 5-headed, that's really, really broken. So that's kind of an auto win for some decks. Those decks aren't very good though, luckily. Other than that, there's some stupid Substitute combos, but those aren't auto win, but they just lead to like you dumping your whole deck and being in a pretty good spot.
What's the
So
goal
there's
of
not
that?
too much auto.
Is that like FTK or is it like
The
just...
goal is, well, there's the Fishborg version now, which can dump all your frogs, and then you have Salvage and Pop Avarice is all live, and you're ready to just synchro your ass off.
Okay.
Or there's you just set up double Dupe Frog, so your opponent can't attack you, and then you put like you thin out your deck like 12 cards, and now all you draw is like your Monarchs and Miracle Fusions and stuff.
That's gross.
It sounds so bad. I feel like compared to a modern deck, it
Yeah.
sounds so bad. But
I set it up so my next few draws
power.
might be good, right?
Yeah, that power level of Edison is really, really low. It's like lower than a lot of even formats before it, like Teledad or Return Dad was so broken. But yeah, Edison's way lower power level compared to those.
Gotcha. That's pretty sweet. Like, what are the best cards in your deck in Vayu? Like
Dark Dragon.
Okay, makes sense. Like,
That's
is
the
there
best
is there
card.
like
That's
a
probably-
one of?
yeah.
Like, I think we were talking about like Burial is one of the best cards, right? Burial from Different Dimension
Yep.
in your deck, because
That's
it's
one of
just
the best
another
cards.
bunch of
That's like
Blackwings.
yeah. You just put back your Vayus, Dark Arm Dragon, Return from the Different Dimension. Edison has a lot of one-ofs, which I feel like turns off modern players because they think it's sacky.
Yeah.
Because but in reality, you can actually play around a lot of them, and it's once you get good enough, you can like make the reads and play in a way to play around the one-ofs and know if they have it or not.
Yeah.
So while it is sacky, and honestly, like the two stupidest ones are Brain Control and Dushu because it's really hard to play around those. But
Yeah.
other than those two, I think the format is really, really skillful.
It seems like it, and I built two decks for Edison. Never played them once. One is your Raleigh deck, your YCS Raleigh
Oh, what the
Vayu Turbo deck.
Nice.
Yeah, I built that,
Uh-huh.
and then I built Gladiator Beast as well. Never played it, but
That deck is gaining a lot of steam right now.
is it really?
Yeah, because so this is the cool thing about Edison format, because now that there's two new combo decks, the Plant deck and the Fishborg deck that I was mentioning.
Yeah.
Gladiator Beasts have a great matchup into combo decks because they have Chariot, so they just stop your combo. And then if they stop your combo, it's so easy for Gladiator Beasts to like just continuously stun you every turn
Okay.
because they can loop Chariot, they can banish your stuff with Ready Ari. So Gladiator Beasts are in a really, really good spot right now.
Gotcha.
So you have two like prime decks.
Hell
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Because I was wondering, like, am I wasting my time with this Glad Beast? Like, why would I play that and I could just play Vayu Turbo? But it's cool just to have, like, it's the same reason I would have multiple decks in Modern too, just to do something different. But also, like, if the format's rotating all the time, like, it's kind of like there's meta calls, right?
I tell a lot. Yeah, exactly. I tell a lot of my boomer friends to play Edison because, like, I don't know about you. I don't know how you have time to keep with Modern, bro. Like, I feel like you have to live and breathe Yu-Gi. I mean, I still, honestly, I do. I still kind of live and breathe Yu-Gi-Oh through Edison, but I don't play it. I kind of just like think about it and talk about it
Yeah.
and make content. But for Modern, you have to get new cards all the time. You have to keep up with the new lists. The meta is changing at such a fast pace in Modern. I feel like probably every week people are figuring something new out.
Yeah.
In Edison, it still changes, but not every week. You don't, and if it changes, you have the cards for it because the
Yeah,
card
right.
list is static.
You just have to get
So-
the whole card pool once and then you're done if you wanted to.
Exactly, and it's so cheap because everything's been reprinted pretty much.
Uh-huh.
I think once Amaryllis has been reprinted, I think everything has actually been reprinted.
Yeah, there's a
So
few more coming in the next set. It's like I think Oppression is in there. I think ooh, I forget. I don't know. Royal Oppression was one of the last like expensive cards, which is like $10 or
Duck
something.
Shoot
But Dust
might have been
Shoot's in
Duck
there
Shoot.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then
Yeah. So those are
Amaryllis.
like those are probably the two cards that are like entry bearing Edison the most, and they're only like $10
Yeah, and they're one ofs too,
each.
right? Are they limited or no?
Oppression's at 2, but Duck Shoot's at 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have one. It's like a heavily used copy, lightly chewed on.
Oh,
But
there we
it's
go.
like whatever, I'll take it.
Playable.
I'm not playing this
Playable.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's so easy to get into because like the static card pool, and you just have to buy a deck once, and then you don't even, like you don't have to play every week. You can just play whenever you want, whenever you're free, and like it's not like the meta is changing at such a pace that your deck is completely suboptimal.
Yeah. What's the scene like? Like I think if you go to all these like tournaments, is this like all in? Are you in Chicago first of all? Are you still in Chicago?
I'm still in Chicago.
Is
Yeah.
that like a spot where there's a lot of players or something? Like, because you're always at these tournaments. I feel like, is it like, are they everywhere? Do you know of, or are
So,
they a local?
obviously local scenes are going to vary depending on your local scene. It's
Yeah.
crazy because when Edison first kind of started, it was only like the big states like Florida or North Carolina randomly had a big Edison scene, Vegas, California, etc. We only had like one small local, and now that Edison has boomed, in the past like year and a half, 2 years, we have a local every day of the week within like an hour drive.
Oh, okay. I thought
Except
all at one
Wednesday
store.
or something. No, not all one store. But like within the Chicagoland area, which is all like within an hour, hour and a half drive,
Okay.
depending on where you are. Yeah, there's local like 5, 6 days of the week. And then we have the monthly that gets a lot of traction every month. But all the big tournaments, like the YCSs, have the Ultimate Time Wizard at every tournament. Every YCS has an Ultimate Time Wizard.
Europe too.
There's a giant. Yes, Europe has one. Every European, every YCS, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure every YCS in the world has Ultimate Time Wizard. I don't know if there's YCSs in OCG though.
Well, they
I
have
don't think they do Edison.
whatever they have, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really have. Yeah, but there's a giant card given out to the Ultimate Time Wizard winner every Ultimate Time Wizard, which is every YCS. The giant cards have always sold, except like for like 2, have always sold for like $5,000 or more.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the first place guys that win Modern don't even get that much.
No, not even
Or whatever
close.
they win.
They get like a Nintendo Switch.
It's not even close.
No, they get a prize
Don't look
card.
at the price.
Yeah,
How much it's like another verse stuff, right?
Yeah, it's those vanillas. I don't think they go for much. Maybe 2K for the newest ones. I don't know, but
Jesus,
I don't
get a
know.
Switch. Oh my goodness.
I know
that's kind of cheeks, man.
Team Sam was posting on Twitter looking for a pot of greed. So if you're trying to move that,
Hey, was he really?
yeah, he was posting on it. So hit him up.
Oh, I'm getting it framed right now. That's why it's not behind me.
Nice. Hell yeah. Is that the one? Did you win the DMOC at Raleigh, or did you?
Yeah, DMOC was Raleigh.
Nice.
Yeah, DMOC was Raleigh. Pot of Greed was Orlando, and then I won. Where is he's right here? I won this guy. The first one I won.
Oh,
This is the
nice.
JC one. You can't see it. Yeah.
Do you know what does that go for? Do you know how much?
The market's not as big. It's like 2.5 to like 3-ish.
That's where'd you get that one? You said.
That one was at an RBT, so
Okay.
you can think of it as like the ARGs, like the old school ARGs of Edison or Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like the unofficial side business. Yeah.
Yeah, probably a lot of people
So,
don't remember the ARGs or don't know what they are either. But I remember those.
Dude. There's a lot of money in medicine, man, and
Yeah.
the tournaments are like 10 times smaller than modern. So like, we get like 200 people on average, and you guys get like, I don't know, 15 to 2,000 people on average, 1,500, 2,000 people on average.
Yeah, Orlando's was 2,200, I think.
Yeah, they
the
were
main
like
event.
got overcapped, right? I know that they had to delay us by like 3 hours because they needed our tables.
Yeah. Nice.
I was like, what the heck?
Rip,
This is
dude.
trash.
Are you planning on going to any YCSs coming up?
I can't go to, well, Vegas fell through for me, and I can't go to Houston. So I think the next one I can go to is Rhode Island.
Okay.
I'm 50-50 on going to Rhode Island or not, but yeah, I'd like to. These are so fun, and like I don't know how long Edison's gonna last for, because it can't last forever. So I want to go to as much as I can while it's still hot as heck.
That makes sense.
But Yeah, it's already lasted longer than I thought because the first Ultimate Time Wizard was April 2023 at Nats. That was the first one, and everyone thought that was going to be the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone went to it. It got like around like 300 people, and they've just done it at every YCS since.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too. Or I thought they would be rotating the format or something. Like, I don't know. I expect like hat format to be the next one or something probably, but
Yeah,
something like that.
that's
Or
what
Dragon
I thought was
Rulers.
gonna happen. I hope Dragon Ruler would be crazy. I don't think that would go very well because there's only 2 decks in that format.
Yeah.
But
No, Evil Swarm, dude.
for the 3v3 they're doing Goat, Edison, and Tengu. They did that last year for the 3v3, and they're doing that this year for the 3v3. I hope September 2012 pops up. Me and some friends are trying to pop that off. That's basically that's right after Insector, Chaos Dragon, Dino Rabbit windups. They get nerfed.
Okay.
Like right after, and nothing really comes out. So it's like a bunch of nerf decks that are like trying to play the game.
Was Water out yet?
Balanced. Not yet. Water Fire's not out yet. That comes out a little later.
Yeah.
So yeah, that format's pretty balanced and pretty fun.
Interesting. I don't know. That was like right when I started going to my first locals. I think was.
Yeah.
The end of that.
I was playing Insectors, but Hornet and Dragonfly were at 1.
Yeah.
This deck's kind of ass.
Dude, it's one of my favorite stories. Like, I rolled up to my first locals, didn't know shit. I went 3-1 because I pulled up with Macro Monarchs, and I got mashed against like Chaos Dragons, Dark World all day. I'm like, dude, I'm flipping Macrocosmos all day. I think I'm cooking these guys.
The game. Yeah, that's the format. The format's slow and it's easy to counter. Every deck has a weakness. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sweet. Do you think you'll switch formats if they switch which format is supported? Like, do you think you're gonna move on?
No, I think I probably would play whatever they decide on doing. At least I definitely would start trying. If they pick like Dragon Ruler format, that shit is not a good idea. That's just gonna last like 6 months at most, and people are like, saying 2 decks are topping every single tournament.
Yeah, no kidding. Like they were back then too.
Yeah, but like, regardless of what they pick, I think a lot of people would stick around because of what I said earlier. It's the static card pool. The format's not changing really. The pricing's like better than modern format.
Yeah.
The Edison scene is kind of like still small-ish, but big enough where there is enough clout in my opinion. Like I feel like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players play Yu-Gi-Oh for clout.
Mm-hmm.
We're not playing for pricing. We're going to be playing Lorcana One Piece or something.
Yeah.
So like there's enough clout to be for the clout chasers too.
Yeah, let me get your take on that actually, because I don't know if you heard about like all this drama about 6 months ago. All these like pro players are quitting the game because the pricing's not good enough compared to other games and stuff like that. How do you feel about that? Like, do you care what the pricing is? Like, if there was no pricing for Edison, would you still just roll up and like play it, or what?
The problem, so I would definitely still roll up and play it. Because I just like Yu-Gi-Oh and it's like half for the clout, half for the prize.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the pricing just incentivizes more people to play. Like if the pricing was absolute garbage, no one would play.
Yeah.
But like for modern, for example, I feel like the pricing is kind of absolute garbage, but they market it so well. Like everyone knows who wins the YCS.
Yeah.
So I think the people who still want to play the game and play for the clout will still play.
Yeah.
And dude, we've been playing for how long, and we don't win anything.
Yeah, right.
This game
just... You do. don't talk about it.
I win a little. Yeah.
I don't win anything. Just like 2 $5,000 prize cards or whatever.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, if I did what I did in like Lorcana, I'd be like.
Rolling
I don't know
in
how much you get in Lorcana. I feel like I could get a house or something. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
Like, a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, I don't know.
You definitely need to step it up.
But
yeah. I'm in the privileged position of playing a format that is quote unquote easier to win because there's less people and we get a better prize. So I'm not complaining.
But are the people that do play it, are they all like try hard Edison? Like are they all like better than average quality, you think, or no? I guess you do play with all the good players, so like you probably have a biased opinion about how good all the other people are. You probably only play with the best to practice. So, but like if you show up into a tournament, there's got to be people that are like, oh, this is my 3rd Edison tournament or whatever, and you know, you
There's
have
a
a
lot
chance.
of people that it's like this is my first Edison tournament.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of people that pull up. It's like, oh man, I used to play this format back in the day. They had YCS around me, so I just showed up. And honestly, like 50% of the time, those people are pretty ass, or 50% of the time, these people are hidden bosses that haven't played the format in forever, but they used to be really, really good back in the day. And yeah, and the format hasn't changed, so they know what all the cards do, so they're still good.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how good a modern player is, but if you're asking me like how many players are good enough to win a tournament, it's probably only like for Edison, it's probably if it's a 200 person tournament, I'd say there's probably only like 15 to 20 people at most that are like at the level where they know every ruling, they know every like deck, and they know like all interactions.
Yeah.
There's probably only like 15 to 20 people, in my
Percentage
opinion.
wise, it's probably pretty similar, I would say. Like,
Okay.
I don't know, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know
In like a
either.
200 person, how many people is in the YCS? Like 200 for
Uh,
like how
for the
many?
main event,
No, for the Edison one.
the one I won in Orlando is 288.
Okay, so and you think like 20 could win maybe or something? And yeah, okay,
20,
so
30,
scale that up
30,
like
15, 20%, yeah.
10 times about I don't know, maybe it's slightly better,
Yeah, so
but
there's around 200 people. Oh man, that's a lot then. Holy hard. There's just killers everywhere in the
yeah,
modern event.
I don't know. I mean, but yeah, you look at the top 64s or whatever of every YCS, there's always the same like 30 names in there, so it's probably fairly similar for you all, but yeah, do you think
It's
that
harder. It's harder because we only do top eight. Like no matter how many players we get, it's only top eight.
oh geez, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so it's actually like you actually see like different names a good amount of times because it's so hard. Like if we did top 32, we would probably see a lot of the same like 20 names, but since we only do top eight, it's
A lot
really
of
hard.
variance going on, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So do you think Edison would be good for like I don't know. I see there's a problem in Yu-Gi-Oh with getting new players to start the game at all. Do you think Edison's a better place to start than like modern? I think it would be, right? And then you
I
jump
think it would
in.
100. I think it 100% is because it's definitely simpler. Well, like, no doubt, anyone's gonna argue modern is simpler than Edison.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the anime, you'll see a lot more in the anime cards. Like, there's a bunch of 5Ds cards that are in this format.
True.
Um,
Cheaper.
and with the interaction part is, I think, the coolest aspect because I've seen so many stories about players who played Edison back in the day, or just players who get back into Yu-Gi-Oh and they play modern. They're like, dude, I couldn't play the game, or like, dude, I have no idea what the hell's going on. Like when you
Yeah.
play Edison format, you sit across someone, like it's pretty obvious what's happening. Like they're only playing 2 to 3 cards a turn on average, probably
Uh-huh.
3 to 4 cards on turn on average at
Sure.
most, at most. And it's very simple. There's no very few cards. I think Swap Frog is probably the longest text card that's mainly played.
Hell yeah.
Like most cards are not essays. Like
Yeah.
yeah, there's none of that stuff. So there's been also a lot of talks. Like people wish Konami would take Edison and kind of do what a lot of other games have done, where they make like two separate formats and they kind of like take Edison and then make new cards for Edison. But they don't power creep it to shit. Like I don't know if you played old school RuneScape, but I don't play old school RuneScape, but I've heard they took old school RuneScape and they do updates for old school RuneScape, and they just don't like do what they did for regular RuneScape. So if they could do that for Edison, that'd be insane.
Do you think they
They're
could
definitely
take
struggling
like
to get new players.
do you think they could take like the like slightly newer cards and say, okay, these are now in the card pool, for example? Like is
It
that
depends which
I know
cards,
it's
right? Because like
very it's you gotta keep
very
you still
yeah,
want to keep it
we're
Edison
very fine
format,
line.
like you know what I mean? But is
I
there
don't
some
mind
kind
if
of
they change it completely and if they introduce new cards and then the format becomes completely different, but you still have to maintain you can't make it modern. You can't just introduce like I'm gonna special summon 30 times this turn, you know? As long as you're not like doing it like that, I think the format's fine. Like I think the format's still fine until like 2012, honestly. Actually, there's a part in 2011 that's really, really bad, but we're not gonna do Frog FTK. But like, as long as they don't do anything outrageous, I think it, and they actually support it. Like, if they actually, I know a big problem of Edison for Konami is they can't make money off it. Like, they can't make additional product for a
uh-huh.
static format. So if they somehow took it and introduced new cards to like Edison or whatever they end up making with it, they could introduce new product They could make money off it as long as they don't kill it, but they'd probably kill it. I'm not gonna lie. There's no way they could figure out how to
Yeah,
not
they've
kill
had
it. So
25 years of
yeah,
practice killing the
killing.
format,
Yeah.
but like, do you think they would ever do or could do or it would be a good idea to have an updated ban list and keep the same card pool like for Edison?
It doesn't really do anything though because there's very few people that I know that complain about the gameplay about Edison or like certain cards like Brain Control and Dust Shoot, and that's the whole reason they don't play Edison. I feel like that wouldn't really change much. You really have to make it and market it in a way that it's like a different thing. You know, like I could make a custom ban list and make Edison more fair and like structured and more skillful, but that's not really gonna do anything. The
Yeah,
same people are gonna play, like even less people are gonna play like the new format. I feel like you're
yeah,
taking the niche within a niche, yeah, and then making
uh-huh.
another niche, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not great.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they do, see if they do a new format like hat or something. I think I would
Yeah.
probably play hat if they had that.
Did you play?
I played
Did you play
hat,
Hat when it was a thing?
yeah. Uh-huh.
Nice. What deck did you play?
I played. I don't know. I played something with Traptrix in it.
Okay,
Traptrix
okay, yeah,
Ninja. I
yeah.
played ninjas, dude.
What the heck?
Summon Hanzo. Bro, it was so broken, dude. Summon the Hanzo, search the trap. Then the trap
Yeah.
can summon out Murmelio on my opponent's turn and pop something, and then I would like loop it back or something in OTK. It was pretty fun.
You're
I know, dude. I was
cooking.
cooking. I was stoked. I was cooking back in the day.
What the heck? That's cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just love Hanzo. Hanzo's like one of my favorite cards of all time. Oh no, I played Noble Knight too. I think that was available during
I
that.
don't know. I don't play enough Hat to know.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So since the format's kind of like, I don't know, it's a balance between like shifting, but also like eventually it'll run out. How is that like for you making content? Because I feel like there's not a whole lot of options to pick from to do new content about. So how's that for you going?
You would think that, but honestly, my backlog of ideas like just does not stop growing, and you would think that the Edison community would become smaller over time. You know, if that well, it eventually will, right? It eventually will dwindle down, but
Uh-huh.
it's still growing. Like every day, like I see new and new people play. And a lot of modern people will still play, like, and just have an Edison deck. And a lot of people that play modern will just eventually realize, yo, this game's shit. I'm gonna play Edison. No offense to modern players, but like,
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that don't have fun with modern. But it's the fact that there aren't many Edison, Yu-Gi-Oh content creators. I think like you guys have so many for modern,
Yeah.
but there's only like I don't know, so many for Edison, and so there's a lot of unexplored topics. Like there, side decking is probably the hardest thing in Edison, and there's not a lot of videos on that, and for good reason because I think that is what differentiate players the most, and people don't want to give their edge away.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so many new players entering that you have to keep on remaking like noob guides, if that makes sense, or like explaining the same concepts over and over.
Yeah.
I've made videos explaining very common mistakes in Edison and like very common misconceptions, and I still get questions all the time on those exact same things. I'm like, guys, please watch this video. Like I explain it.
Those were my
Um,
first videos of yours that I watched, and I thought they were excellent.
oh,
And there was like I never thought of
nice.
these things. You had one video on like how to play around gores properly or something like that, or use
Yep.
gores properly. It
Yep.
was one of them.
Yep.
Or it was
Both.
like
Both. Yep. Yep.
yeah, it was like attack with the lowest one first, unless you have 3 or something. Unless you have
Yep.
yeah. So I was like, holy crap! There's like this is chess. You know what I
There,
mean? So
because there's so much skill in Edison, there's actually like a lot of things that aren't explained in videos because there's not a lot of content creators.
uh
So I think there's a lot of, so I kind of like try to occupy that space because people were just doing deck profiles and like explain how decks work, but I feel like there's not a lot of technical play going on. So I
yeah.
wanted to like go off on that. So there's still a lot of room in Edison. I could, if I really want to, like find detail every technical play aspect. I could make like endless videos. It's just I don't have the time, man.
Yeah, I feel that.
People play Edison because they don't have the time. How do I have time to make videos on it?
Yeah. I barely go to locals. Like half the time I choose like do I want to make content or do I want to go play? And it's like
Exactly. Make
I'll
content.
stay home, make a video right quick and like have my
Yep.
Sunday off, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a balance.
Exactly. How often are you going to YCSs for modern or like monthly tournaments or whatever?
Um I go to probably I actually last year was the first time I traveled to a YCS. I went to Indy. Yeah,
Uh,
last year, and then I went to Orlando this year. I'm gonna try to hit probably two more this year, and
mhm.
Nats is in Indy too, so I'm gonna go to that.
But
Um,
you play a lot locally or any or
like we got locals available Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and I only do the weekend, like one of the weekend days, if that. So I
right?
do
Do you
like
play dueling both a lot?
no, I don't really play that much.
How
Or
do you keep up? How do you keep up? What the?
I just watch content and I make content. Like I learn the decks and then I make content on it, and that's how I learn them. Like I knew I want to learn a
I
deck
see.
good enough to make a guide on how to play it, and then I just kind of like put it away, and I just do that, and that's how I
Gotcha.
know all of the decks is because I just learn them to make content about it. But
That that's another thing I think that's really hard in Edison because this might sound really stupid, but I've been playing Vayu Turbo for like almost 2 years straight,
yeah,
like literally almost 2 years straight, and I would say I've mastered it now. But even after I've won my first two tournaments, I still have since my second win to my third win, I learned a bunch since then. There's so much in this freaking format. I don't know how. It makes no sense. But like now I would consider myself like 99% probably know everything about the deck. Like I still learn things here and there though.
yeah, and that
And
I think that's a really
like
cool part of it too, because like in modern, you don't play a deck long enough to learn every nuance because by the time you do that, it's a new format anyway, or your deck is
yep,
obsolete or whatever. So
yep.
that's pretty sweet.
It's sick.
Yeah,
It's sick, man. You get a like one trick a deck, and you can actually learn like so freaking much. But in modern, like you don't get rewarded for doing that.
yeah. There's very few decks that are complex enough to have enough nuances to figure out. It's usually just like the combo and
Yeah.
either do it or you get hand trapped and you lose. I
You
don't
have to
know.
know
So
every flow chart. Yeah, it's a different skill set. Like you have to know the flow chart in modern. Like if this happens, I have to do this. If this happens, I have to do this. But in Edison, it's like there's not really it's not as linear because there's so many variables. Like what if he has one back, what if he has two back rows? How many cards does he have in his hand? Like because it's so slow, it's back and forth chess.
uh huh.
There's like people would think like chess is solved, but it's not.
No, it's
Like
not.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the same. Yeah, there's like 203. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah,
So yeah, that's how I view it. It's like chess, except chess has 200 years and we've had like 2 3 years, and yeah, chess still isn't solved. Essen's not solved.
yeah, right on, man. Yeah, I think that's about all I had for today. Is there anything else you want to chat about or anything like that? Or you pretty
No,
good to
I would
roll?
I would just want to like advocate how if you are watching Chris's channel and you don't know anything about Edison and but you've probably seen Edison in your locals and you've never tried it, I don't know why you're not trying it because you only need to build a deck once and then you could like literally play whenever you want. And if you're one of those modern players that have tried Edison and you're frustrated at the gameplay of Edison or like you think it's dumb or sacky or something, I guarantee you there's so much to learn and it's not like that really. Like that format is actually really really skilled and you just have to like be patient and actually take the time to learn it. Like there's you probably misplayed, I'm not gonna lie. Like there's so, like I've coached so many people, I've watched so many replays. Like 95% or more have a misplay in them. It's really hard to play perfectly in this format. And I think that's why uh, players like me, Frazier, and the other top SN players like consistently find success is because it's so hard to find like that perfect like line of playing perfectly. But when you do, it's like so freaking rewarding, man. It's not. I don't know how it is in modern. I don't want to speak for modern, but from my perspective of modern, sometimes it does feel like you just both players show their hands and you just see like, do you win or do I win? And Edison's almost never like that.
Yeah, there's formats like that. It's they've slowed it down. They managed to slow it down in the last like 4 months, where there's games actually go to turn 3 or 4, which
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
thank God because
Yeah.
I was getting done with that. But yeah,
Yeah, Edison goes to like turn 8 probably. It's crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
it's awesome.
So yeah, any of you guys that are trying to get into Edison, definitely go check out Eric's channel. Link is down in the description. I've watched a bunch of his videos, and that's where I got my Edison knowledge, what little there is from. But I'm gonna keep going back when I get into the format a little bit deeper. Yeah, and I already bought my deck devies. I didn't have deck devies, but I saw you play them at Orlando, so I gotta pick those up.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna tell me not to play them. Oh, one of my friends actually told me to ask you why you gave up on My Body as a Shield. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So My Body was in the side deck. Well, yeah, that card was broken as hell for me. But there was a deck called Hero Beat. I don't know if you know what Hero Beat is, but that deck used to be really popular, and that deck kind of faded out because of the meta changes.
Got it.
And now that Hero Beat's gone, Hero Beat used to be a huge meta percentage share. Now it's pretty much at 0, so you can't justify that card anymore.
You would just play it to counter Gemini Spark or something?
Yeah, exactly. You negate Gemini Spark, you +1, you wreck their shit, and now that doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately.
Nice. All right, good to know. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Eric, for hopping on. Maybe we can do some kind of collab in the future.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'll need some coaching for sure.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.